Hi guys, I'm going to show you some of the features of Weebly to help take your inquiry research and turn it into what's called a digital essay. It does take a little bit of finessing through Weebly, so I want to show you some of the best tricks of the trade. And you really are trying to create some type of graphic design look that helps accentuate your essay and make it more visual. So I've already started my essay, Parental Ponderings. I've started doing a couple of the features and adding some pictures and links, but really I want it to look visual, so I don't want it to have that traditional essay feel. So the first thing is I already typed up my essay on a Google Doc. I did this for a couple reasons. First, it allows me to keep my ideas clear. It does have traditional essay elements, but it just makes it cleaner and more organized. And if something goes awry on Weebly, I still have documentation of the essay here. And also it's easier to copy paste in chunks than it is to put the whole essay on there. So right now I'm about to put this part of the essay, which is my next chunk. I've actually organized this kind of like a scholarly essay. So I'm going to scroll down, and I've done my introduction right here. Oopsies, my introduction is right here. And then I've introed with a little narrative. I played with a block quote, which is over here. I did personal pictures. I'm trying to avoid pictures off the web at all costs because I just don't think that they're very personal. And also, I'm going to have to create citation for them, so I just want to avoid them. So those are pictures of my kids. This is my next chunk. You notice that's a spacer. There's another block quote right here. I've done some linking. So now I'm going to do the next chunk of information. I've already added a spacer. A spacer is a nice way to like break up the elements or break up the different text features so that it reads as nice white space, like purposeful white space. So now I'm going to stick my title in here. I think I'm going to make my title on this side. I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to add the research. I'm going to make this smaller. I'm trying to be consistent in how I design this. And then now I'm going to add my text. So I'm going to go back and forth between my written document. I think I'm going to, I don't know how I want to set this up yet, but I'm going to paste this over here. And I'm just going to show you a couple things to make this look fancy. So here's my paragraph. I'm actually going to make the text bigger. Because it is a website, I think bigger actually reads a little bit better. It reads more graphic. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some linking. And because this is an online resource, I want to embrace online aspects, such as creating a link. So I highlight what I want to link, and up here this chain is called Create a Link. And I'm actually going to link up this guy. He is the guy that wrote my first secondary source. I picked him because he is pretty well known, and it kind of shows the validity of my argument. So I'm going to link this up. I've already found this website, which is basically his bio. I'm going to paste it, and as soon as I paste it and I click off, you notice that it has blue or green, because it's hyperlinked. So the next thing I'm going to do, and you can notice I made a little note in my written text. I'm going to actually link up the article if people wanted to look at it. This time around, because I'm allowing you to link up the information, I'm actually not going to require a works cited page. I'm going to try that this year and see how it goes. So as long as you link the sources and I have access to the sources, that's great. I'm going to take this out because it's not really important. And the only thing that you might have to works cite is the final piece of literature, and if you are doing any in-text citation that's not clear. Whenever I cite from Robert Epstein's article, I always use Epstein, and so the citation is really clear, so I don't really need a detailed works cited for that. I have this, which some of it kind of got a little goofy when it copy-pasted. I think what I'm going to do is a picture. I'm not sure what picture, but I think I'm going to do a picture to break it up, and then I'm going to do the next piece of text. I'm going to go to my source, Here's my next one. I do have to copy up another link. So I'm kind of going through and I'm making some changes and kind of making this more visual. So when I do this, I'm going to paste this in, make it big, make it look nice. But what I'm realizing is I don't like the font of this. I actually already changed this font, but I want this font to be a little bit more graphic. So I'm going to go to Themes, I'm going to go to Fonts, and right here is different ways to change your paragraph text. So right now it's Arial, which I find very boring. Let's see what Cabin looks like. I don't like it. All right, I'm going to try a couple others. And I'm just going to play around and see if Actor looks... Ooh, I like Actor. That looks good. So that's how you can change the font. That was under Theme. I've played with a couple features on Build. I've used the basic ones, which is Title, Text, Image. I can add a gallery. I am going to be adding a slideshow in a few minutes. I could add a button. I'm actually going to use a button for my kind of literature works cited. And then right here, I love spacers. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spacer on this side and a spacer on this side. And if you notice where the blue shows up, that's your spacer. And then I'm going to have one key image here. So it just creates some nice balanced white space. And it kind of allows me to move on. A couple other features that are kind of fun is you can add a YouTube link if you wanted to put that in there. If you had any files, you could add a file. This actually gives you a picture of the file. This creates an icon. Down here is the block quote. So if I wanted to put a little block quote right here, I could, and I could make that bigger or more graphic. So there's a lot of nice little features to play around with. Maybe you want to do a survey. So I really recommend that you start your essay on here, get the core ideas. I got to make a graphic for this, but this is kind of my core ideas. I definitely played with titles or mini titles. And then I also am playing up the digital media features, like linking, pictures, purposeful white space. I want to space this thing. There's actually no spacer right here, so I'm going to add a little spacer, and I'm just trying to make this a little bit more graphic. And if you notice, it's just watch where that blue line is, because right now the spacer is going to go in between here, but because the line is located there, it creates that nice little space. So things are looking a little bit more visual. So that's a couple little tricks of the trade. The last thing is when you upload images, you can actually edit images. So I'm trying to make these look a little bit more graphic. So I played with the focus, which allows me to change the focus. I chose to make it circular, so it focuses on his face. You could play up filters, so it looks a different way. You could even put text over your picture. You could crop. So there's a lot of nice little things to play around with. Oops, discard changes. You could also add caption in a little bit. So some things to think about as you play with Weebly. Good luck!